Halafia. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Power of You. Yes, today I'm kind of late, but it's always on time. Every disappointment is God's appointment, right? So here we are going live on both Instagram and YouTube. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Alafia, everyone. I am here. Running a little late today. Yes, every disappointment is God's appointment. So as I come together with you today, I just giving thanks for this Obatala anniversary, Obatala feast day in the Lukumi faith. So bendición para todos mis amigos. Blessings to all of my friends in the Lukumi faith, in the Lukumi faith where my practice is derived from. So today is the holy day of the feast of Virgen de las Mercedes, which started in the church, and the way that our wisdom of our ancestors chose this as the day for us to celebrate the fact that we could hide our faith, right, in plain sight within the church. So we give thanks for Obatala today. All of my Obatala, Lukumi-centric, Lukumi practitioners, I love this, the power of understand African connection to spirit. Welcome everyone, welcome everyone, welcome everyone. That it doesn't matter what your expression of the divine is. If it's rooted in African spiritual system, it comes from the same source. It comes from the same tree. We're all descendant of Oduduwa. We're all descendant of the fact that we honor spirit and its capacity of being enough and being that source that we can tap into for music, for art, for our soul, for the connection that we have to our divine mothers, our divine fathers. And what I love about this faith is that it's unconditionally loving, is that in this faith, we have Itan or Apatekis, or stories that reminds us that when the Irumole, when the what we call the Orisha today, were living on earth, they all were having human moments. And so the things that they went through and the things that they did gave us an opportunity to recognize that we can have grace on ourselves. And that if you make a mistake, it doesn't mean it's the end of you. So no, these are wrong. Or if you make a mistake, a misstep, that you can get to redo it, or there's a ritual to atone for it, but there's a way that not to beat you and say that you're going to die. Is that we die every day in different ways, in different ways that we pass to another level. So that's one thing that I love about this faith, is that the foundation of this faith, the commonality of this faith, is understanding that the Orisha, the source, the divine source, the Ashe that exists in nature is the same that we have inside. And we could fall, and we can stumble, and we can make a mistake. But God in his magnificence, no, that was the season of that. So come back and grow in the way that you know you were meant to grow. So we don't have a dogma that says that if you don't do it this way, you're going to die and burn. I don't want to say that because I'm comparing, that you're going to go to a level that you'll never be able to redeem yourself. Well, the Orishas always let us know that they were imperfect when they were human, and now they're serving us as an inspiration and examples. Yes, that is so powerful in that our ancestors don't have the understanding that everything has to be dogmatically the same. That our ancestors are people who understand nature, know that in the spring, the plant is something, in the winter is something, in the fall and in the summer of everything, there's a season, there's a time, and there's a place for us to rebirth from what we find ourselves in. If you're in the midst of a chaos or a situation, you can always adapt to the surroundings and still keep and maintain the scientific connection to the vibrancy or to the vibration of the Most High. That is beautiful. And that's what was done in Cuba, where the Lukumi faith found a way to overcome the divided and the design intent of destroying the African people's way of understanding God. And so in their wisdom, Latawan, Efunshe, Obatero created, understood, those three women took and understood the different tribes that came, the different people that found themselves in the topography or in the region in Cuba. They all came from the motherland, and they came with different ways of interpreting. Some places honored Hevioso, some places honored Chongo, some places call him Jakuta. Different ways, but that when we got together, the commonalities that we have to thrive and we have to survive. So let's implement, use what it is that we came here knowing to keep who we are, keep our identity, and hide it where it needs to be hidden in plain sight, so that we would be able to continue being African in our understanding. That's powerful to our ancestors, Mofere Fun, Latuan, Efunshe, Obatero, for the work that were done to bring the faith to what we call today Lukumi, which is now other Makumba. They have the other expressions of the same way of honoring African nature, natural spirits, scientifically. And so the vibration that we find ourselves in now, and has always been, is that there's always going to be opposition. There are going to be other ways of looking at God. There are going to be other beliefs. There are other names, systems, that stories that are taught. But in the crux of it, we use all of those stories to embellish, to add to fortify, knowing that God lives within us and God is available to us, that we don't have to ask, is available for us to just claim it. That is powerful. And so today I say bendición para todos mis amigos, bendición para toda la gente que está en la religión, en la cultura africana, que hoy en día llamamos Lukumi, Ashe. And so our job now is not to compare which system, if that is the day that they celebrated in Brazil, or if they enjoyed and celebrated in Yeyefini. Today, Yeyefini is the Olojo festival. That is the festival where the Oni Risha, the God on earth, the Orisha that walks the earth, he's going through the process of, he has 3 days that he goes in and no one sees him, and just rituals are done. That I've had the privilege of being to Olojo festival twice. Baby, was it 3 times? Amazing. And this, talk about seeing God in his manifestation of supernatural wisdom. The last one that I went to, in the midst of it, the entire sky got dark. And it doesn't get dark in Africa if it's going to rain, okay? Because rain is just part of life. It got dark, the clouds came, and that was the day that Onirisha went in to be locked down, to be away, sequestered, and made in a ball. That was the day he was coming out. And he walked out, and the sky opened up. People started fainting, passing out. Everybody felt the Baby, if you ever get to go to Olojo Festival in Nigeria, in Ile-Ife, where you see the Oni coming back from seclusion, empowerment. So it is Olojo Festival there, and today is Obatala, Vida de las Mercedes, Obatala Oshala Day. So I give thanks for that. I give thanks for all that I have become and all that I have worked with in getting initiated in the Afro descendant Lukumi slash Ifa practice. And that's what we do. We use both in my temple. We use both Isheshe and Lukumi. And we have Condomble art in my temple. So it's all. As a matter of fact, I have Ibai Torung. I had a goddaughter that was Shango Baptist. And I initiated her to Obatala. She's now in the spirit world, Mother Taylor. So you can do all of that. As long as it's empowering to do the will of God, to make this a place where someone comes and feels that their attachment is to Condomble, or their attachment is to Ifa, or their attachment is to Lukumi, to embrace that and to know that God was present. Don't it say that when two or three are gathered together, baby? So today I'm just honored to be a descendant of that line. And I give thanks for all of the initiations that I also had the benefit and the wonderful experience in Nigeria as well. So I give thanks for that. So today we wanted to talk about that aspect of us, of connecting more than comparing, of feeling that because you call it something else, it doesn't exist. It exists. But they said a drowning man will hold on to a straw. And so in our attempt of staying vibrant, alive, encouraging, being servants of the Most High, being manifestation of allowing God to work through us, we always know that there's Obatala. So Bendicion, I give thanks to all of my sisters and brothers in this faith that have boldly created a space where other faiths could come from other places and say, I'm going to introduce it to you as this. And so to me, I find it offensive when someone wants to say that they are practicing the part of this of Yoruba, and I'm calling Yoruba so that we can paint it with a large brush. We have to go into the fact that Yoruba is not a word and that it was created by the location of where the British found us. But to say that this faith that's descending from Yoruba, those ancestors are the reasons why we're here. The reasons that we're here. So we have to give honor to the Lukumi faith for giving the foundation that we found ourselves in captivity. We found ourselves disconnected from ourselves. And we had the boldness to say, we're going to create something that we will not forget, that we will never honor a God that does not look like us. That's bold. And that's because they had confidence and strength. Right? Yes. So stepping out bravely and doing God's work, all we have to do is look back at what we come from, and it legitimizes exactly where we're going. As long as we use the scientific principles of the same faith, of the same movement, that you're not going to put fire or palm oil on Obatala, on Hevioso, on Oshala, whatever names you call it, Vida de las Mercedes, wherever it is that you have that image, that Obatala. So the science is there. Wherever it was across the board, is Obatala, is Obatala. Shango will not be honored with shea butter, and soft white foods. That's not the principle of that Orisha, that energy that we call. So as long as we have the scientific principles and we attain to it, then that is a faith. That is a reconnection to it. And so religion being the thing that ties us back to who we are. That's how Lukumi became a religion, because it tied you back to where you were from. You were born in Cuba. You found yourself in the midst of this enslavement period, and you tied yourself back to being African. So that is a religion, but it's a branch of the same faith that we call today Ifa, which is Orumila's worshiping, and Orumila is worshiping God, knowing that Orumila is one of the deities or the energies that we use for its job is to remember what we came on earth to do and remind us through ritual to stay on our path of destiny. That's that job. And that's that job is called, Orumila. And so I just want to just big that up. I want us to go into a little meditation, and then I'm coming on the other side of this conversation. Whatever is going on in your life right now, I want you to just take this moment. I was inspired to take a deep breath, music, and see the connection that we have from the beginning of time of knowing who and how we came on earth. Of Obatala, the father of all the Orisha. Obatala lives inside of each and every one of us. And so Obatala is the owner of all heads. Obatala is our ability to intuit, to download, and to connect to peace that everyone is seeking. And we're connecting to the fact that all of us and then peace have struggled, and we found peace in whatever we call this worship. The children of Obatala will face many adversities, because only through adversity you can appreciate peace and calm and love. No matter what Obatala goes through, as an entity, as an energy, as a force, it always realizes its power by remaining peaceful. And you're going to find by remaining clear, optimistic, and things that are happening in the world today. So Obatala is the energy that when you feel like you've hit rock bottom, Obatala that we can call on Obatala this day. When everything else millions of people all over the world are honoring or distant Obatala or today, the 24th of September every year. And gives you clarity. It makes you say yes, yes. We honor those ancestors who so boldly poured libation, set up a system of initiation, look at the challenges that you may be going through or the things that you've gone through, set up the systems of divination, and recognize that it's all going to be and handing it fine to us. When you change your perception from being honoring those ancestors or being traumatized, that are today forming branches of this faith all over the world, because I am not alone, then you know that Obatala. Obatala is that energy that makes you know that your father is protecting you, your mother is protecting you, and that's Obatala. The male energy, the female energy of peace, just enjoy this moment of knowing the connection, and knowing that you have the power to be great. And everything that's happening peace and the triumph for us and to us right now, that's Obatala. In the world around us. When we get bombarded with the little trivial things, there's no need for fear. Obatala says, all of that you see down there is irrelevant. What you are seeing is what I see. So whenever you want to connect to Obatala, sit on a mountain, sit on a hill, sit somewhere that can give you perspective that at the end of the day, there's only peace and there's only love. Ashe. Ashe Obatala, Epa Orisha, Orisha Epa. Epa Orisha. I wanted us to just get connected to that energy of Obatala today, and those spirits and those guides, that whatever night or day they came together and said we have a common enemy that we are fighting in this oppression, and we're going to take all of the tools and we're going to settle our differences wherever we were from in Yoruba land. We're going to settle our differences and sit at the table of peace. Settle at the table of connecting and knowing the responsibility that we owe to our ancestors that we don't forget. and to use these tools to fight the oppressor. And we give thanks to Obatala that as we see the world that it is right now, those who are choosing peace are choosing to do peace by fighting whichever way that they know, by sending rituals, by visualizing, by having conversations. But everyone chooses the side of peace is going to be successful. Where we know that unity is going to give us peace, because now we're dancing. We're not joining opposing forces and taking sides. We're taking the side of peace for ourselves, for our community. That's what our ancestors in Cuba did. They settled their differences and created a system where many years later, Yeyefini could be initiated through Orishamola Maurice Irving, Orishamola Awolowo, who was initiated by Oba Efundola Adefumi, and who was initiated through Oshun Bumi and Ogun Jobi. And today I'm here to be able to share that. We got to give big ups to our ancestors for settling their differences and not saying, oh, you're from Ibadan, you're from Ile-Ife, you're from Oshogbo. That we had a common. So we have to big that up today to our ancestors who saw the importance of settling the differences and pulling it together, and this powerful thing that 60 years later we could have Olatunji coming to America and people becoming popularly understanding that Yoruba people wanted us to come from Africa, that came from Africa. We're bringing the drumming and bringing the faith and bringing opening up. Just at the time that Cuba shut down its borders to Americans, people came from Nigeria and started coming here and setting this faith now that we call, Isheshe, the culture. Look at God. One thing shut down, something else opened up. So it is time for us to bring all of those things together and don't have well, if you are Isheshe, I can't do this, and if you Lukumi, I can't do it, and if you are Condomble, I can't do this, and if you Shango Baptist, we can't do that. Settle our differences so that we are not practicing spiritual hypocrisy. Spiritual hypocrisy where we believe in God, but yet and still we're saying that our way is the only way and our way is the best way. Knowing that God exists gives us the opportunity to always know that we are going to be fine. Can you imagine the great-great-grandparents of Latuan, Princess Obatala in Cuba not too long ago? Can you imagine her great-great-great-grandparents who was still in Yoruba land, understanding that their child was going to come to Cuba as an enslaved descendant of a slave one generation back, and then set up a system where people are on the internet learning about her name? Our ancestors know that at the end of all of this that's going on in the world, and we look into the right and people are fighting themselves, things that were set up for us are not working anymore. Our ancestors are working. Our ancestors are bringing us together. Massive healing services. We are all doing either workshops or retreats that are tying us back to natural healing, that are tying us back to nature. So spiritual hypocrisy is when we're saying that we believe in God, but that God is only going to work in the way that I want it to work. Hypocrisy means that you're not really saying the truth. So today, let's just work with unity of the different systems and not say the authentic one or the real one or the one over there is better and that's originally where it's from. Baby, we don't know where we're going to be in the next 300 years. So the best thing for us to do is set in place something that says we came together and we formed a powerful energy that the ancestors are supporting our backs in pushing forward everything that is happening in the world, that is teaching and allowing people who have never had a voice to fight for themselves, because Black people were always in the middle marching and fighting for them. We have stepped aside and now they're taking responsibility. Yes, this here. So spiritual hypocrisy, throw that out. Move into understanding that you can go into a temple that is Lukumi, Condomble. You can go into a church. You can go into a mosque. You can go into a Shango Baptist morning. You can do whatever it is that brings you that sense of peace and that sense of connecting to your ancestors from a worship and an understanding that the base root is African. You can go into a Kemetic worship service and you don't have to feel that God is going to come get you. When you feel like that, that is spiritual hypocrisy. Because if you really know spirit and you understand spirit, you can boldly walk into any place that two or three are gathered together in the name of God and feel that you're home and feel that you can share it. So today I just wanted to share that with you in honoring the ancestors who created this bold, beautiful faith with lots of rules and expectations that I still practice, and I encourage my Yawos to. Yes. So on this day, big ups to the Lukumi faith, our sisters and brothers and all other names that we know ourselves as the descendants of Oduduwa. I give thanks. And let's support each other. Support each other and brave, as Oya said, to come through drastic change for ourselves, for spiritual and cultural evolution as revolution. So do something drastic. Reach out to those family members that feel that the faith that you're in stops you from loving them. No. Reach out to your neighbor. Speak to your neighbor that looks different in their attire and the way that they know God. How you doing? Yes. No? Or yes. Yes. Spiritual hypocrisy is when we try to feel that God is only available in one way. So the song, Emi Omo Duduwa Awalo. I am the daughter, I'm the child of Oduduwa. Emi Omo Duduwa Awalo. We are walking on this journey. Bimolo Sile, if you go into the house. Mibolo Soja, if you go to the marketplace. Emi Omo Duduwa Awalo. We are all the children of Oduduwa. So no longer comparing, let's connect and stay at peace in the middle of all the war that's going on. No more spiritual hypocrisy. Ashe. Y'all have a beautiful day. Keep a smile on your face and give honor to our ancestors. And Obatala. Bendicion.